Always good to see you. On the program today, I first want to get your reaction to what's bubbling up almost to a volcano pitch on the left side of the chamber.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame that Speaker Pelosi kind of lost control of her speakership yesterday when she broke the House rules. She actually had to force her members back to vote to allow her to come back and speak again because of the violation of the rules of the House. And so basically what they said is the rules shouldn't apply to Nancy Pelosi that apply to everybody else. That's not the way things are. They've got to stop this drumbeat every single day towards impeachment, of harassing the president, his family, his staff. Today you're seeing more legislation on the floor to go after members of his own staff. They want to admonish Barr because he didn't break the law. To comply with what they said would have required him to break the law. This is ridiculous. People want us to be focusing on real issues. There is a crisis at our border right now as we speak, and they won't address that problem. The broken asylum laws that are causing thousands of people to flood across our border every single day, they won't work with the president to fix that, to lower drug prices. They want to just keep harassing him and his family, and I think people are fed up with it.
So another part of this coverage has to do with what the president is talking about and that vote yesterday. You talk about those 4 GOP, 1 independent who went along with Democrats, but out of 197, that might look like unity. Here's what the president said. He was touting the GOP unity. So great to see how unified the Republican Party was on today's vote concerning statements I made about 4 Democratic congresswomen. If you really want to see statements, look at the horrible things they said about our country, Israel, and much more. So I'm reading a tweet there. Your reaction?
Well, if you think about many of the anti-Semitic things that some of those members of Congress said, you know, just last week, AOC called Speaker Pelosi a racist. Where are the admonitions for those kind of things? They've never been willing to stand up against their most radical elements of their caucus, the squad, and the others associated with them. And frankly, they're all part of that socialist Democrat Party now because they're condoning that kind of approach to government. And by the way, when you look at some of the things that have been said towards this president, they said he colluded with Russia when he never did. You even had some of them saying that people that are coming across the border illegally are being forced to drink out of toilets. That's not even happening, yet they continue to say these kind of false and degrading things and knocking our country every single day. Why not work together with Republicans and Democrats to solve real problems that are affecting hardworking families?
Look, you bring up compelling arguments for bipartisanship. A lot of people across the country are holding their breath because they're wondering about health care and a whole host of things, the debt ceiling, so on and so forth. I know Speaker Pelosi's worried about that. She's talking with Secretary Mnuchin. But at the bottom of all of this, the common denominator is this fight among Democrats. And could it, and I'm wondering, Congressman, does this become so distracting that before the break you don't get anything done as they fight amongst themselves?
Well, you know, people are tired of them fighting amongst themselves and fighting for power. It's really what it's all about.
Is that what it's about?
It's all about fighting for power, for more power. Those that have power want even more. And families are saying, just help us lower drug prices.
Among those 4 women, they only have 4 votes.
Well,
clearly, Pelosi's told them that.
Well, she says that, but then, of course, they've threatened other Democrats in their primaries. And so you've got these rank-and-file Democrats in swing districts that are scared to death to cross AOC and her squad because they feel like she'll take them out in their primary. And she's threatened to do just that. And in the meantime, they're not bringing real legislation to the floor. There are bipartisan things being done to lower drug prices, but Speaker Pelosi won't even bring that to the floor. USMCA, we've got a real opportunity to get a better deal with Mexico and Canada. The president wants it. They want it. The unions want it. Most Democrats want it, yet that won't even be brought to the floor because we've got all of this foolishness going on every single day fighting for power.
Can I just pause right there with USMCA? That, I don't know if it has a hard deadline, but it does have a working deadline, right? Like, don't you want to try to get that done so we can go forward on some of those trade issues?
Right. There are a lot of things at play. Canada wants to get this done. They've got elections coming up in October. You don't want to get this mogged in to their elections. Mexico's already passed it. It's a better deal for America. They're actually, you look at the state of Wisconsin, for example, or Michigan. There are a lot of areas of Canadian markets that are closed to American products that this allows us to sell more American products products into Canada, into Mexico, and they won't bring it to the floor. I was just with Ambassador Lighthizer earlier, and he's working hard to get this done. Hopefully we can, but it should have gotten done months ago. Well, let's stop the foolishness on the floor. Use the floor to help hardworking families, not to settle personal disputes.
You know, I want to go a little deeper with you because I know that you have relationships across the aisle, as many Republicans do. You in particular, though, in leadership, you know Nancy Pelosi. What does she need to say when she steps up to that lectern at any moment to get beyond this point, maybe even about her behavior on the House floor yesterday?
Well, I think she ought to address that because it wasn't us alone that said she broke the rules. The majority leader is the one who actually took the chair because another Democrat vacated the chair. And the majority leader is the one who made it clear that she did break the House rules. She ought to own up to that and just say, let's move on. Let's be better than this. Let's actually focus on policy. Stop the drumbeat of bills and legislation and resolutions that aren't going anywhere, that are just designed to attack people based on personalities. We have real bipartisan bills, things that can get done to lower drug prices. We just passed a bill out of committee earlier today to stop all these spam phone calls that come in by the robocalls that people get that annoy them every single day. There was a bipartisan agreement on that. Those are the things that should be on the floor being debated to help hardworking families, not the personality disputes and the fights over who gets more power.
Well, I tell you, Congressman Scalise, you have listed, and I was taking copious notes on what you said, things are getting done, and you've listed some things where you're ready to go forward. We will be perched to see if the Speaker of the House will lead her majority to do just some of those things. Appreciate your time.
Hopefully so.
Thank you
well, thanks
very
a lot.
much.
Good to be with you.
Thanks.